Well, the damage is so extensive, in fact, that utility crews are still out here trying to restore power as we speak. The storm this morning so strong it snapped utility poles, it uprooted trees, and it even bent metal. Take a look at this neighbor's yard. The flagpole literally toppled, the same with their basketball hoop. The wind's that powerful, but the damage does not stop there.
Oh, you look so cold this morning.
It is freezing out here, but the good news is Louisville Metro Public Works reports that all the major roads have been salted. Where you'll likely find the issues this morning are out on these local streets. We are out here in Middletown, and as you can see, these roadways are iced over and snow covered. That's because right now out here it is 10 degrees. This is what you sent Michael and I to, 10-degree weather. Good news is we decided since we're stuck out here, we might as well have a little fun. So we're turning our live shots into a game show called How Cold Is It? So how cold is it this morning in Middletown? It is cold enough to take a wet t-shirt and completely freeze it. This t-shirt has been outside for all of 5 minutes, completely frozen solid. Take a look at my umbrella. This umbrella once kept me dry from that freezing rain. Now it's covered in frozen raindrops. You're going to come outside to find ice on your vehicles out this way in Scott County, frozen windows and frozen doors. Slightly different story on the roadways, though. Right now, traffic is moving along pretty smoothly along I-65, thanks in part to road crews that have been out clearing those roadways. A little bit different story on the surface streets, though. You'll find this slushy mix starting to accumulate on the ground. And if you look, I'm actually putting together a nice little ice pile. That's making for some slick conditions. So much so that Scott County schools have closed schools officially, as well as Jennings, Paoli, and Seymour County schools. For a complete list of school closings, just head on over to wave3.com. This was an ice bucket challenge gone wrong. Power lines playing a huge role in this good cause turned tragedy. 4 firefighters rushed to the hospital. Meanwhile, their fire truck still here on scene on campus. Incoming freshman Ryan Grad.
I saw a tweet that said Bam was doing the ice bucket challenge, and that's why they were all there.
Had been on his way back from lunch when a loud noise caught him off guard.
First we heard the explosion, we looked up and we saw a big flash and the guy fell down from the bucket. That
guy, one of 2 firefighters, Grattan says, had been helping out with the band's ice bucket challenge.
And there's another guy who's standing there and he was motioning for help. Everybody like, come help, and there's another explosion. So they were both down in the bucket.
Grattan and a crowd of students horrified by what they just seen, but he says the terror did not stop there.
And then he stood up again, and there was another explosion, and then all the paramedics started showing up, helicopters showed up.
A good cause turned tragedy.
It was all kind of crazy.
This close-knit Christian campus now turning to prayer. And the coroner just arrived on scene as police continue to block entry to the bridge while LMPD's traffic unit continues its investigation. All lanes of the Clark Memorial still shut down following that deadly accident this morning. It happened around 7:30 when what appears to be a cement truck hit and killed a woman here along the Clark Memorial. That woman's name and age not yet being released. Meanwhile, the LMPD traffic unit actively investigating as we speak. It's not yet clear how long this bridge will be closed. We'll be sure to pass along updates as we get them. Again, as we know at this point, at least 1 woman killed in this accident, an accident believed to have taken place with a cement truck. Live from 2nd and Main this morning, Cedra Mayfield. Again flowing along the Clark Memorial Bridge, and as you can see, this is a very busy intersection, particularly during peak rush hour times. The victim in this morning's accident killed as she tried to cross this very crosswalk. The accident shocked many in the area, but it turns out deadly pedestrian accidents like this morning's are more common than you may think. So common, in fact, they've earned the city of Louisville a more than $300,000 federal grant to address the deadly problem.
I get the alert on my phone, and it's one of those, oh no.
When Metro Engineering Project Coordinator Dirk Goen learned a pedestrian was killed Thursday morning, hit by a truck while crossing the base of the Clark Memorial Bridge, he was saddened, but not surprised.
In the past 10 years, Louisville Metro has had 164 fatalities.
Goen says with the exception of 2008,
I think we had 23 in that year.
The city averages about 16 deadly pedestrian accidents each year, but that number has been on the rise.
Last 2 years, we have bumped up our numbers, and it is very disappointing. We're trying to bring more and more focus to it.
Thanks to a grant recently awarded by the National Department of Transportation, city officials can now do just that.
This is going to provide us with $307,000.
Increasing pedestrian safety through education.
Education of the target age of 25 to 54.
And enforcement.
It's called a pedestrian decoy sting. We'll have officers in plain clothes that will enter a crosswalk. If the motorist fails to yield, then they will get on the radio and have an officer around the corner to remind them of their obligation to yield.
With main corridors like Bardstown Road, Dixie, and Preston highways identified as some of the most dangerous for pedestrians in the city.
There's a lot of traffic, a lot of parked vehicles, a lot of establishments that serve alcohol.
Goen says staying safe is the responsibility of both motorists and pedestrians, who can both cause accidents by being distracted.
We have a large issue with jaywalking here as well. We've got to be wiser in making our decisions.
Metro Public Works will roll out the federal funds for the pedestrian safety education and enforcement efforts over the next 3 years. Live from 2nd and Main tonight, Cedra Mayfield has in fact resumed selling hot dogs from this very spot. Now, you may remember Hayes is charged in connection with that late June road rage shooting death of Danny Wilson. Well, his family telling me today they'd much rather see Hayes lodged instead across the street.
And so I'm going to set a $50,000 full cash bond on Mr. Hayes.
1 month to the day after a judge raised Donald Hayes' bond from $10,000 to $50,000.
That's what we're looking at.
The 67-year-old hot dog vendor has again set up shop at the corner of 6th and Liberty. From hugs to honks. Hayes' downtown popularity.
He does have good hot dogs, and he's well recommended.
Evident Friday. Long lunch lines despite this closed Friday sign. Hayes did not wish to speak on camera.
Nope, nothing. That's it. You want anything to eat? If you want something to eat, I'll serve you. That's it.
His patrons, on the other hand, more than willing.
There's hot dogs in town, I know it.
We're glad that he's back out here.
Right, laughing, selling hot dogs like nothing has ever happened.
Word of Hayes' return is not sitting well with Christy Wilson.
My dad's life was taken away, and I feel like his should be taken away in the penitentiary.
Still mourning the June 21st murder of her father, Daniel Wilson, allegedly at the hands of Hayes, Wilson says she'd rather see the hot dog vendor lodged across the street.
We can't stop him from working. He bonded out.
Hayes' attorney agreed and even stopped by the stand himself. While he did not patronize his client's stand, Kevin Glogauer supported Hayes' right to work.
I mean, he's got a job he's doing, he's working. Obviously, people are already buying hot dogs.
Wilson says it's a tough pill to swallow.
We're having to get special prosecutors and different things because of him working right there, and for him to bond out and continue to work right there, to me is really, it's a slap in the face of my family.
Nonetheless, Wilson says she's confident justice will be
JCTC professor
served.
Shelton McElroy not only got kicked out of Sully's, but arrested. His face blasted here in crime times. His alleged offense, not complying with the dress code, and get this, after already being allowed inside.
When Shelton McElroy arrived at Sully's to meet up with friends this past October,
my friends were in there at the time.
He says he did as everyone else, paid his fare and headed into the party.
A security guard who I had just walked past 10 minutes ago to get in came up to me. He said, "You have to leave." And I said, "Why?" He said, "You're out of dress code."
Dressed in a polo shirt and khakis, he refused to leave after staff denied his request for an entry refund.
A police officer came directly over. Immediately, he put his hand on my arm.
That's when McElroy started recording.
Hi, how you doing? You're sagging.
I gotta leave.
Look, step out here.
I got down on the ground, put my hands over my head, and said, "I'm not doing anything wrong." And he arrested me.
Charged.
Disorderly conduct and criminal trespassing.
You can't have my phone.
And booked.
I'm gonna put you in handcuffs right now. You're about to resist.
The father and professor says he lost money.
I had $70 in my pocket. They kept every dime of it.
And his additional job as a substance abuse counselor.
I lost that job because in the contract you could not have any kind of pending charges.
His case?
It's Kentucky's motion to dismiss. Is that true, Miss?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Tuesday, some 4 months later, dismissed.
We recommended a dismissal because the evidence wasn't sufficient, we believe, to make a conviction. His dress had been approved going in the front door. He was removed by another employee and we felt that that was inconsistent.
For McElroy, the dismissal invokes mixed emotions.
My experience is not unique to only me, and multiple people have that same experience.
It's something District 4 Councilman and newly elected Council President David Tandy says is not acceptable.
With regard to this, we can continue to apply pressure as well and lend our voices to it to make sure that all people involved are acting appropriately and being responsible corporate citizens.
Policy inconsistencies.
Harms that have been done to me.
McElroy hopes stop with him.